You got to be a real thinker. You got to know the game better than anybody.
Well, you gotta be tough. You're squatting down on your haunches like that the whole game and all that equipment.
Two of my grandkids,
Awesome.
Carolina boy, the young ones, both played catcher last summer.
Right?
They got, and like I said, me seeing them squat all the time, I sit down, I can't stand up, and they're sitting there.
You have a chance to get two people that were drafted. Neither one of them made it to the major leagues, but
How old are they?
What are they? 7th grade. Yeah.
They're probably aware if they're playing at school. They catch. There's a real good clinic down there in Wichita called Just Block It.
Oh.
And guys run it many, many years. And he teaches them how to get in the catcher's position without hurting your knees.
Oh.
Particular way to do it, and it works.
Yeah.
well, that would have been nice to know. We're live. Yes, thanks, sir.
Yeah, we're on. All right, welcome to the November 3rd meeting of the Raleigh County Commission. Please join the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. See here, public comment. Or what?
Okay. Quite a week. Monday afternoon, we had a special meeting of the law enforcement board here in the county commission chambers. Purpose of the meeting was to take a public vote on the new police director. And it was a unanimous vote to hire Chief Brian Pete of Montpelier, Vermont. Further information will be available at the November 21st meeting that will be held in Austin. Tuesday afternoon, I attended the common table meeting. Reports of the weekly meals were made. Most churches are serving inside, with several continuing to serve to go only. The number of people attending are in the 70 to 80 range per evening. And that's Monday through Sunday. So discussion was held concerning Thanksgiving, as there's not a community meal, but it's going to be held this year again. Yeah. I don't know why they've stopped. It's been 2 years now.
Well, maybe they can coordinate maybe with Ogden or somebody.
Yeah.
Ogden's doing one, I think, on the 20th, and they can coordinate, and I don't know.
Well, it's kind of hard to put all that together at this point, but I know that our church will have their regular Thursday night meal, but it's going to be on a to-go basis. Usually there's lower numbers and a lack of volunteers on Thanksgiving. I helped one year and we cooked for like 100 people and we only had about 40, so a lot left over. So, but that was one of the community meals too. So. Wednesday, I attended the Military Relations Committee luncheon at the Sheraton Four Points Hotel. Program consisted of a report on the AUSA convention held in Washington, D.C. recently. A slide presentation was made and narrated by Rich Janovich, and a panel was made up of John Ford and Dee McKee. One person was missing.
Actually, two, but
Two.
couldn't count it at this point.
A big panel. So, and then they discussed the various programs and meetings that they attended. Upcoming events include the Veterans Day Parade and Ceremony on November 11th, and the HASFR Tour of Historic Homes and Buildings on December 3rd from 3 to 7 at Fort Riley. It's all the historic houses and buildings. Other announcements were made by the audience that included Operation Santa Claus and the Scholarship Committee. After the luncheon, I attended the West Loop Business Association meeting that was held this month at Our Cat Sports Grill. Raleigh County Senior Center is a new member. And the Halloween event, Bewitching, was held Monday night on Halloween, and it was estimated that around 2,000 people, children and adults, attended. So they gave out a lot of candy and free stuff. So, speakers for the meeting were Rebecca Robinson and Stephanie Pierce from the K-State Innovation Partners. They did a presentation on how they develop partnerships partnership with between KSU and businesses. They do strategic planning and development of entrepreneurs and economic development in the area. They suggested that businesses that were in attendance consider hiring college students as interns or part-time employees to encourage them to stay in the Manhattan area after they graduate. Other announcements and events, there's a tree lighting on October 15th at 6 o'clock. Then the HEA ribbon cutting ceremony for the new shelter in the parking lot will be held, and that will be open on December 7th. There will be a business social for members on November 12th at 5 p.m. at Goblin Games. And the next meeting will be held on December 7th and will feature an update on NBAF, NBAP, and the Department of Agriculture. That's about it for me.
It felt like the first week where it's finally starting to calm down after just a insane, crazy October. So don't have as much as I typically do, which might be a good thing, I guess. Of course, Monday afternoon, I was also part of that special meeting of the Riley County Law Board to discuss and formally nominate Montpelier, Vermont Police Chief Brian R. Peake to the position of Director for RCPD. As mentioned, we still have some details to work out as we go over here. And extremely excited to have him on board and his family too. I think they're going to be a really good fit, both for the agency and within the community. And I look forward to working with him both from a law board and county perspective side of things. So, and hopefully they'll have a chance to get on board before the end of the year to get a little overlap and kind of pick up on that learning curve a little bit there. But I think we're in really good shape, and it takes a huge burden off all of our shoulders at this point in time, having that done and out of the way. So Tuesday afternoon, I listened in on NACO's national membership call, just kind of get some updates on what they're working on. Mentioned some kind of primitive things with the policy conference I'll be attending in DC in February. They talked in pretty good length about Operation Greenlight, project that they are promoting this year. We'll be participating in that here at the county, with lights being displayed in downtown portion of Manhattan. A group of us Sunday afternoon will be working on putting those lights up. So they'll be up for a week. We'll take them back down next Sunday, the following Sunday, I guess I should say, and take pictures, lots of pictures. Should be pretty cool. So yesterday, I, of course, attended the Military Relations Committee luncheon. Hadn't attended one of those in a long time. As mentioned, I was part of a panel. It was supposed to be a panel of three. The other two didn't show up, including the mayor of Junction City. But Jeff and I can talk about that later. So they brought Dee McKee on, who was also a first-time attendee. So then that was the point. I was to get two different perspectives from people that hadn't attended before. And hopefully that went well. Hopefully I provided some information that was valuable along that process. Lots of members and different people from both Fort Riley and the community were there. And the last one I went to was kind of in the 4A area of 4 Point Sheraton, and it wasn't really full. So those have really grown in scope over the last couple of years, which is always good to see. I brought my dealer because I'm still working on trying to type up my notes this morning, but I think you actually covered everything on it. So not to be too worried about that then.
I don't think I got all the announcements that were made, but
Yeah.
all down, so.
Well, there was quite a few there actually, but they did mention the other thing that they probably mentioned you missed was the 10K race. And Fort Riley did have a team there, and they placed 6th in their division on that event. So I was thinking to myself sitting there, I'm like, I can run 4 miles. That's my ceiling at this point in time. I don't think I could do 10. No offense to those that do run a lot, but I don't know. I just don't see that being me. So maybe you just have to figure out a way to do that more for fun instead of just for actual exercise and health purposes. Maybe that's part of it too. But 4 has been my max. I do appreciate those people who can do that and do well at it too. So
I run to the refrigerator.
well, depending on where your refrigerator is, you can make up the difference on that too. But
Running that far is just total disrespect for the man that invented the automobile.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Everybody's got their purposes.
Not a distance runner.
No. No. I may try to do that HSFR tour this year
Yeah.
too. I haven't seen any information on where to get the tickets just yet because it requires you to get up on Fort Riley, but I got that pass, so we're good. So I may try to do that because that looks really interesting. But that's basically all I've got.
All right. Well, one morning I also attended, stuck around here to watch the law board meeting. I was only observer other than the press when I was here. But glad to see that selection was made. I'm looking forward to getting him in here and getting him started. And Tuesday evening, I went to the K-State basketball game. It was a good start to the Tang era. First half looked right well, and then he let everybody play. In the second half, it was everybody played. They got a little sloppy, but it was the first game, and it didn't even count. Wednesday, I also attended the MRC luncheon. I think you guys covered that pretty well. Wednesday afternoon, I had a Zoom meeting for the special out-of-bus board meeting. They had to review and approve the DBE program policy. This policy is required for federal funding. They have this in place. They've had it in place for 3 years. They've had a review this year, and they said the only problem they found with it wasn't ever actually voted on by the board. It had been looked at and reviewed, but so we had to take an official vote to approve what was already in place. So, that was about it for that meeting. I'd say it was a short meeting, just a formality that had been done but had never been officially done. So, and that's all I've got.
Ready for business, commissioners? First time we have the motion to approve county budget certification to Conservation District for 2023.
I guess I was gonna say it seems late in the year for that, but I guess with the entire budget process, it is late in the year. So
For sure, everything's late this year.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the county budget certification to Conservation District.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve the budget certification for Conservation District. All in favor?
Aye.
Chairman, please. Next, I have Raleigh County Personnel Action Forms, Jeffrey Anderson, new hire, Information Technology Specialist, ITGIS Department, and then Nicole Alika. Oh, a new hire. Appraiser 1, Personal Property in Appraiser's Office. Sorry if I butchered that name, which I know I did.
Good news for both
I don't
departments.
think you butchered it. I just think you added an extra vowel.
At least,
I'll call.
See?
I didn't put the extra vowel in there. I actually butchered it. Maybe Michelle knows the proper pronunciation.
I looked at her, she kind of raised her eyebrows at me.
Just Joe, go with him, but I just.
Well, it's good to see new hires rather than the other.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, hopefully they'll bring her in to introduce us and we can ask her how to pronounce her first name.
Maybe she's watching. She already decided to quit. Since she can't work at a place that doesn't know my name.
It's just pronunciation. I tried it.
Have you seen the names, some of the new names on the basket?
Yeah.
I were talking about
I'm sure it's 76 to 40 something. Yeah. I thought maybe like the last 2 minutes. But
It was that big a spread at halftime, and then the second half was just kind of, and he played a lot of people.
he played all the walk-ons. That's
Yeah, even walk-ons.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
season opens tomorrow or next week.
Next, Monday or Tuesday next week.
I haven't got a basketball schedule yet. That's how crazy then has it been.
A lot of people there, a lot of big cars in the parking lot. Was by there in this.
Next, need a motion for accounts payable and payroll. We'll make a motion to approve payroll and accounts payable.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve payroll accounts payables. All in favor?
Aye.
Commissioners, this is our first official payroll with Paylocity. Michelle's going to just kind of explain the difference on the form. You're going to see the forms different for payroll. So she's just going to explain the transition.
Yeah, so in the past, you guys have signed one sheet for payroll that has the direct deposit, all the payroll liability information on it. With Paylocity, it's going to look a little bit different. It's going to still supply the total payroll liability. Instead of one form, you'll have two forms because we have two company sets. We have one with regular employees and then we have one with all the stipend employees.
Okay.
So you'll get two reports to sign each time, but it will have the total payroll liability on it. And if you have any questions specifically on the reports, please feel free to just let us know.
Thanks, Michelle.
Gonna pass those on out of order, I guess.
Fine. As long as I get them all back.
Yeah.
Commissioners, have any changes to the minutes?
Yes, that's
Good. That's good.
on the attendees.
Yes,
Usually
sir.
those last two aren't included, are they? As regards to executive session.
They were just here. If staff were in here, we can take them out if you like.
I'm just,
But yeah, they came in while the meeting was open, so that's why they were listed on there. But we can take them off if you like.
I don't know, I didn't know what policy, I thought those names we just kept off and stuff.
I'll have to take let me. take a look.
There's been others that have been if they come in early. We don't list it on the executive, right?
It's a good
So-
question.
So no one knows why they are here when it's listed here, if it was on the motion and during that, but we can take it off if you like.
That's just my thoughts. I don't know what, you know.
Yeah.
See what do you guys think?
Clancy, what were you gonna say?
Well, I was just going to say, I think it's a good question. That had not occurred to me. I didn't look at the.
I would say when in doubt, just take it off.
Yeah, if you have that
Because that's
flexibility,
the only item after that time.
yeah, it's perfectly legitimate.
Mhm.
As Rich said, take it off. If you want.
You just do that.
And so, whenever we have an executive session, I've got attendees, I always try and explain to them that sometimes it's easy to piece together or people will, even if they get it wrong, people will get theories about what's going on. And they may have nothing to do with who's sitting there. But I've tried to make sure people know and can make that choice whether or not to be in the meeting while it's open. So,
Well, we will get it off and have to do something else to do that because it's not working very friendly in doing that for some reason. Giving me an error.
thanks for noticing that, though. It's a good question. Something I'll start watching for.
I hadn't noticed that before, but
Yeah, and that occurred.
We will get that off. Okay. Anybody have anything else? No. Okay. With that said, though, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as amended from the October 31st, 2002 meeting of the Riley County Commission.
I would second that.
been moved and seconded to approve the amended minutes of October 31st. All in favor?
Aye. Any, have the tentative agendas look, commissioners? Any items for next week's press conference? Be on for elections and we'll see if there be anything else on. If not, then Greg Cox is up at 9:00. Public hearing.
That's what, and you put those notes on there that can focus. And I thought, oh, it's good. But I contacted Brandon because it's election day. I said,
Uh-huh.
do you have something special?
Uh-huh.
He goes, no, he's.
Yeah, it will be a busy day. That's for sure.
Very gifts.
No, they're not good.
Serious.
It is work, yes.
Holy cow.
The 5 we received for, I played.
Won't take more than 10 minutes to go
Okay.
through.
Those what Shannon would normally say to you to sign and you're ready, so. It's a contract signed.
These are bids.
Okay, so you need them signed today.
I plan on doing it Monday.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I told her I would deliver them to you.
I got you. I just wasn't tracking it. So you do something different than what I'm used to over 70 years. I just
all the meetings.
Well, it will be tradition if you continue doing it.
Yeah.
When is our meeting? To go over these?
That was gonna be in early December, I thought.
Think so. We'll let that go on. John, I think it's 2 weeks. So yeah, I think it's the end of this month. He said something about 2 weeks when he handed me mine.
John,
When are we doing the review of this?
I believe it's the 17th.
okay,
It'll be an executive session with,
Right.
yeah.
the committee and you.
Okay, that's good. I think it's a little bit of that.
So yeah, the top sheet on the one packet was your scorecard with a scorecard. And as you go through and make notes and whatever, score those accordingly. And during our meeting, I will tally them all, everybody's scores up and we'll see.
Okay.
Not sure if Kyle Archivists will be here, but he will have some comments for us too.
We need to find out, I'm not sure if we need be from or not, but at least I think we need to have him on. Here,
I would agree with that.
that's why we're beginning.
Yeah,
He said he wanted to be heavily involved in that.
Yes, it is. And yeah.
I have people looking at 3 out of the 4.
Say what?
I know people, yeah, at least 3 out of 4. Not mine, just not sure, but I know in MCI on that as well. I
definitely know 2 of the 5. I can look through the other one. We get moving on that, how's that work?
Reading material. Let's get some reading material.
Oh, yeah.
We do.
You've done a good job putting it together from a professional perspective, all of them.
He did this last week. Speech because they played pretty well. So. I swear this year.
Yeah. Sometime Google and just block it camp. Because you'd be interested in what they do.
Okay.
He talks about the history of, man, they've gotten big.
I didn't think, actually, I was thinking about that after we talked about it as well. I actually think my ankles have suffered more than my knees have.
Tough. It's like in.
Good morning, Commissioners. Craig Cox, Deputy County Counselor. This is the matter this morning is the request by Joe McGraw to vacate some road right away out by his former, out by his current business location out by Stag Hill. It's concerning unused right of way that the county acquired when KDOT realigned K-18 out there. We've had some previous meetings on this, and John's here this morning. Public Works has no objection to giving up this portion of the right of way to accommodate Mr. McGraw and his expansion of his business location there. The loss of this right of way will not in any way adversely affect our interests out there for future use. And today, I will say that we did notify Stag Hill because they were the adjoining property owner. I talked to the general manager out there, Chad Myers, and he had referred our notice letter to Tom Chapeau, who was the president of the golf club. I talked with Mr. Chapeau yesterday. He had also talked to Mr. McGraw earlier. They have no objection to the vacation. The only concern he expressed, and he had a discussion with Mr. McGraw, and it really doesn't affect the vacation of the right of way, is that both Mr. McGraw and the golf course have fiber optic along the west side of their entrance out there, and so they just want to make sure that they both have access to that fiber for maintenance and repair. And Mr. McGraw is going to work that out with the golf course. So, we need to open up a public hearing to see if anybody wants to make any comment on it at this point in time.
We'll open up public, pardon me, open up public comment for the vacation of a portion of Stag Hill Road right away. Anyone? Comments will close the.
We would not anticipate anybody appearing.
Yeah.
Before the commissioners, there is a vacation resolution, a vacation order. I would just ask that the board move to approve that, and that a resolution be signed. And then once it's been processed by the clerk's office, then we will file. It has to be filed with the registry of deeds.
That was not in the packet,
No.
resolution.
It was not where we didn't get a chance to see that resolution. It wasn't in the
It wasn't in
packet.
the packet.
Oh, okay. If there's more than one copy, maybe you can split them up and I apologize for that. That's my oversight.
Okay. Do you want to take a look at it first?
You're free.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
As an attorney, I always want my clients to review the documents before they sign them. They take this on attention.
Yeah, he's some kind of rogue, apparently some kind of rogue member of the office. I don't know what he's talking about. Going to slow things down by people knowing that they're signing.
No, it's bad enough you give correct football scores. We don't need this one.
Yeah, I think they want to talk to you about it.
I'm never going to live my luck down on those 3 or 4 games. I think Rich thought I did all this analysis and I would just pick the numbers out of the air those times.
I got some lottery ticket ideas. I'm going to get with you this afternoon.
You're not making them feel any better.
Yeah.
So, hey, my question is, who won from the game last Saturday? Oh. I'm sure nobody had 0 for Oklahoma State.
Nobody was even close.
I was still 26 points off or something.
I think there's probably
That's the high number.
Yeah.
So I think it was 35 points off, and there's 44 and 45 points off, but he still won.
Anyway, okay.
it was a fun game. I thought really they were gonna get a touchdown late in the game when they had, each side had the other players in, but then that little underhanded shuttle pass, defense just saw that coming and just,
That kid was so nervous out there, quarterback.
There's video of him with his hands all shaking and stuff. He's the coach's son, so.
I have to tell you,
Pressure, right?
I have to tell you a kind of a humorous story from this personally. We sit way up high on the east side of the nosebleed, and at the end of the game, we're kind of making our way down to get to the stairs. I looked up and I saw fans on the field. You know, I had my granddaughter, my 14-year-old granddaughter from Topeka with me. I say, hey, look, fans are on the field. So we get out to the ground, you know, and she kind of sheepishly asked, well, hey, Grandpa, can we go on the field? I said, well, hey, let's go take a look and see what's going on, you know. And so we go down the ground level, and the guy's just holding the gate open, you know, and oh, she was just tickled pink to be able to get on the football field.
Good. Okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
Get a motion, commissioners?
Are we all good?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go ahead and make a motion that the board approve resolution number 110322. Vacating a portion of Stag Hill Road right away as presented.
I would second that.
And moved and seconded to approve the vacating of a portion of State Hill right away as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
All three, please sign all three.
And you did read the entire legal description, right?
Yeah, the legal description. I had one question. I think it was, I thought it was 159.78, but 0.77 is quite close to that.
He's gonna tell you that's a GIS question.
Oh.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you.
Mr. McGraw, appreciate it.
Yes, I do. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
I think I did use my mic.
Next commissioner, we have Michael Bowler at 9:15.
Yeah, you haven't said it there, because we're all supposed to call it. So I've looked at it. Okay. As we talked about. That's what I said.
Young man, I heard a vicious rumor. They're leaving us.
Who told you that?
I am.
He has some birds in his office, you know.
A lot of people talk to me. Where are you going?
I'm moving to Colorado, Steamboat Springs.
Oh.
Yeah.
You like to ski?
That's what I would be actually teaching ski lessons.
Oh,
and
really?
riding.
So you're getting out of the biz?
No, I'll be doing both. So I'll teach and ride.
Wow.
So,
They have great powder up there.
some of the best tree skiing in the country.
It's wonderful. I love
Some of
it.
the best what?
Some of the best tree skiing.
Oh, yeah.
country out there.
Yeah, watch out for hitting the trees too. Yeah.
You're still loving it out there. The Aspens grow.
Yeah, Sonny Bono didn't do so well out there.
I don't think that
And
was.
they
in
go
Steamboat.
in the pockets, so it makes it really easy to navigate.
Yeah.
Until you don't navigate.
Exactly.
You don't navigate your.
Well,
I
you'll be
love it,
missed.
but-
Yeah, that's.
Keep doing the work you do. Appreciate the work you do.
You do a great job.
Report the story. Don't try to make it and sensationalize it. Like, not a lot of people in your business do anymore. Like, so appreciate that about you. And that's just being honest.
So the neat poster that relates to that story is I used to ski a lot out in Steamboat, and we have a poster that has a guy holding a newspaper and a lady looking at the newspaper, and she's dreaming about the upcoming ski season. And the newspaper is the Steamboat Signal, which I looked up, and it's still an active printed newspaper out there. And on the front page of the paper is, I know him by the name of Billy the Kid. He's a famous skier from out there.
I remember.
Billy the Kid, and Billy the Kid is actually the head of the ski resort out in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. So it's weird how things haven't changed. The newspaper, and this is from 1979.
Have you ever heard Billy the Kid?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I remember
Probably know that name before you go where the resort.
You're working at that resort?
Yeah.
They just have the one, do they still just have the one resort up there and
Yeah,
Okay, I didn't have.
I'm not sure if they, I don't think they have a second.
Oh, yeah, they have they used to have that Olympic.
They have
ski
colors.
Another gentleman does
practice.
doing all.
Yeah.
They still have that.
In Section County area that does same thing for just hitting.
Yeah, because they used to have like, you can go up there.
And it was so much fun.
in the Winter
to
and
just
see
even
a
do it.
practice.
You didn't try it?
Oh, no.
Because it was nonstop instruction. Not standing around.
Oh,
Remember,
Head first.
yeah,
Oh,
I was just gonna say, I just remember there was a gentleman that came up. I remember what year it was, 89 or 90. It was Mike Clark, who was a baseball coach here, and he had a summer camp every year. And
Yeah.
we did a whole morning of instruction. I think that gentleman was from Sedgwick County. Yeah,
Interesting.
I remember that he was good friends with Tommy Lasorda at the time. We brought him into the camp. We all got to listen to him talk for an hour and a half.
I actually had a Tommy Lasorda story. He appeared at a game at the minor league team down there in Wichita. He was like he must have been coming through town for a speech or something. So they had him out there talking to a group of kids on the field. My kid was one of them. He goes over to him and asks him, "Hey, what's your favorite sport?" And he says, and he's telling the truth. And Tommy Lasorda, "You got to tip me."
Tommy Lasorda. Soccer. Kid had a chance to shine and blew it. When asked that question, I answered baseball, obviously. I enjoyed baseball, but I was a pitcher, and so I was always active. If I played any other position on baseball, I wouldn't have enjoyed it. Yeah, it's, every once in a while, someone else would pitch, then go out in the outfield, and it's okay. But yeah, I played a little of third base and shortstop too. If nothing else, I did have a pretty good sling for an arm. I mean, I could get, so playing at the corners and stuff or playing with the angles were okay, but I would say I was extraordinary or even better than average.
I played first base because I had tallest, longest arms.
Long reach.
In the young, in the first years, that's who they wanted. Somebody to chase down the
I
wild
will
throws.
actually tell you, other than catcher, first base is probably the second hardest position to play.
No, I didn't play in high school. I think just summer leagues, but like I said, they put me there because I could reach things, the wild throws from
Stretch, do the splits, those sort of things. Yeah.
Mike. Good.
Good morning, Commissioners. Mike Bowler with the Riley County Noxious Weed Monthly Staff Update. Have some interesting things to discuss today. Got some that are fairly routine and some are perhaps new. Happy to say that our spraying for Cerise Lescadise on county roads and KDOT has been completed, as well as our fall spraying for the lower 2/3 of the county. That's something, as a reminder from last month, we generally do in the spring, but we had some extra time and it's just as effective to do it in the fall. So it's kind of nice to get that out of the way so we can have a little bit more time in the spring if need be. Our final round of mowing, I'm happy to say it's almost 80% complete. We started in the lower portion of the county and the top portion of the county, and we're meeting in the middle. We've already got University Park mowed out, and should be complete with the mowing here in a week or two. Always, of course, weather pending. Every time I say that, Mother Nature changes our plans, but we are really far ahead this year with mowing as well. And I contribute that a lot to the 10-hour shifts we've been able to utilize. I've just seen a big change in the amount we've been able to get done. A lot of it has to do with efficiency of our workers as well, but the 10-hour shifts certainly helped. Next project will be tree trimming along the roadways, and that will begin in November. I'm very happy to announce that Public Works will actually be beginning that process. There's some cost associated with some of the road repairs, and they're going to choose to transition into helping us with trimming some trees. So there's some familiar trees that commissioners may be aware of. Rich, I'm sure you probably are as well. There's a group of 4 about midway between Keats and Anderson that are so dead, I think they're petrified now. They're pretty scraggly old sycamore trees that have needed to come down for some time. They're on the target list, as well as a group of trees right before you go into Pot County on Barnes Road, really deteriorated disease trees that are consistently throwing branches on the road. And those are 2 areas that we're hopefully finally going to get taken down with the help of Public Works. So greatly appreciate that. And then once our guys get done with mowing, we can assist with different areas that they're going to be doing some chip sealing in the spring. Public Works, so they get some brush trimmed back. So we'll be transitioning into tree trimming here soon. We'll also be starting with our sprayers and spray rentals and get them in the process of being winterized. And then we're changing over our spray trucks, of course, to snow plows and salt spreaders. I put that will begin very soon, and then possibly very soon, depending on weather, as the weather here in Kansas changed. So we need to be prepared for that and get ready to get our salt spreaders on our trucks. We can do that in pretty short order in kind of an emergent situation, but we've got some time. It takes a few days to get that done, but in a pinch, we can get it done in about 6 hours if we get all hands on deck. I am happy to announce that all of our tractors are back online from the storm in June. And we did receive our new pull behind mower that we ordered back in January. So we finally got that in. Very pleased. Great Land Pride mower. Haven't even had a chance to get it set up and balanced yet and get it out in the field, but we do have it. We also have got what's commonly referred to as the horse barn. We did get the new roof on it. And then we've got the contract signed and the down payment made to get our building that was completely destroyed in the storm. The contractor gave us a pretty good deal if I would wait till after the first of the year for the construction to begin on that. And the savings of $10,000, I thought that was a worthwhile to wait till after January. So that is scheduled to be built somewhere between January and May, but they believe they're going to get started right at January. So got a pretty significant discount for waiting that time. So I'm excited about getting that replaced. On our HHW side, we will be doing our community clean out November 12th down at Howie's. Again, that's just taken off. We're just 70, 80, 90 people in 4 hours down there is pretty common. And the feedback from the community is tremendous. Lots of thank yous for doing that. So that's something we'll continue to do. It's been wildly popular, and it is the second Saturday of the month. You can just remember that, second Saturday. So folks are aware of that. We do have giveaway out at our facility. Right now, we are completely, it's the first time in 5 years I've been there, we are completely out of latex paint to give away. Because of the economy being what it is, folks are trying to stretch their dollar. And we have a laundry list of folks looking for paint that we have a waiting list on there. So as we have time to process it, we'll get it out the door. But when we have paint, commissioners, just so you're aware, we can do anywhere from 180 to 220 gallons of paint a day if we have that much paint goes out the front door. So wildly popular, and people just gave us tremendous feedback on our paint, but it's good paint. And of course, the price is right because it's free. We do have another clean out with Clean Harbors on November 15th. We do 6 cleanouts a year. The next one is scheduled for November 15th. And then finally, we will be assisting with the voting machines deployment and retrieval. In fact, we may be looking at some rain tomorrow, so we're wanting to move that up. And as I leave here, we're going to be going and getting the trailers ready to go and see if we can't get the equipment loaded this afternoon. So,
I think autocorrect got you on deployment. It says development.
oh, the development, yeah. Yeah, we department will not be developing. That might be
Your story, Christian.
We have enough challenges with election. We don't need to add that to it.
yeah, the deployment and the retrieval. So yeah, sorry about that.
Which is very important work as well.
Yeah,
Agreed.
yeah. So we're gonna hopefully get that taken care of this afternoon. So I'm gonna go put my grubbies back on and head back out and see what we can do to get that started.
What's
Appreciate it.
Clean Harbors?
Clean Harbors is our company that we contract with.
Oh,
Does all
yeah.
the cleanouts. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
they're originally out of Boston. They're a Fortune 500 company and they're global. And they are really the leaders in environmental cleanups. Anytime you'll have even large spills in the bay or the ocean, Clean Harbors is going to be involved. They're a multi-billion-dollar company. And we have went to them in the last couple of years. They've had the state contract for HHW. And they have been tremendous. They have saved the county in Big Lakes regional thousands of dollars over the years, and they've been very easy to work with. They help us put together our manifests and make sure our trucks are placarded correctly when we transport items. And it's pretty technical and a big deal when you're transporting what we're transporting, but they've just been tremendous. So Clean Harbors is that's how it comes.
Yeah, that Clean Harbors cleaned out. Which harbors are you going to?
They're out of Boston originally.
That's who take
All
all
over.
of your.
They process
All
all
over.
over.
Got saved like a Boston thing.
Right. Which interestingly, on a national level, there have been some backups on incinerators that have been closing down for maintenance. And so even supply chain issues as far as stuff being backed up to get incinerated, we've had to reduce the last clean out. We generally do 70 or 80 barrels, 55-gallon barrels of waste per clean out, and they limited us to 40 last month, which then puts us in the spotlight of the state because we're only able to hold so much on site. But since we've done 6 cleanouts a year as opposed to 4, we're always in the good graces of the state and haven't been over capacity.
So is that mainly for like liquid spray materials, noxious weed stuff?
It is, Commissioner, it's everything from hydrogen cyanide, liquid hydrogen cyanide, to liquid mercury, to common pesticides, even up to and including some low-level explosives that we may get in, pressurized cylinders that contain poisonous gas. Yeah, we've gotten some interesting things out there that, yeah, they can handle high-level waste. Now, having said that, we work under a solid waste license. So as a general rule, most of everything that we have is not on a terribly toxic level, but we do occasionally get in, say 70% hydrogen peroxide, where you think hydrogen peroxide, that's not dangerous, but 70% hydrogen peroxide is like napalm that will burn right through you. And so we've gotten some 70% hydrogen peroxide out there as well. And so they process all of that material. and make sure that what they'll do is they'll bring lab techs out there to make sure our manifests are correct, make sure that it's packaged correctly, and make sure that it's going to the appropriate centers to be disposed of correctly. So if we're ever audited by the state, we can show that it was appropriately dealt with. That when you're dealing with liquid mercury or 70% hydrogen peroxide, somebody at some point may want to know, well, where did that go? And they help us with all the paperwork on it. Thank you.
And you have a separate facility to hold all the things that's secure. That
I would love to give you a tour sometime if you'd
Okay.
like to come out. We have different segments of our facility, and our facility is purpose built to hold a lot of this stuff. And so there's a lot of requirements out there that we have to have for in case of emergency, a case of spills. An example of that is our floor in one of our main buildings is lowered 6 inches below the surface level, and the entire building counts as a containment device where we would have up to 800 gallons of hazardous waste still in that facility. It will be contained in that facility. And that's something the commissioners before you and the director before me, when they first purpose built that building, it was all built for this reason. So that's what makes us, and we were one of the first in the state of Kansas. So that makes us really far ahead of the curve. And it was purpose built. So it's very interesting. To answer your question in short term, absolutely. We have different ways to separate all those things and protocols in place with how when you're handling 70% hydrogen peroxide. You got to know what you're doing. They can jump out and bite me.
Big discussion on the bid when we built that building was those 4-foot high concrete stem walls.
Yep.
An additional cost. And it was here when we did it.
Yep, we have an explosion room that it has a different heating element. It's got lights in it that won't trigger an explosion. It's vented, it's all of that, and there's procedures in place. And then, of course, we just recently went over our COOP program, and then that is also audited by the state of Kansas. As far as emergency regulations, since we're a hazardous waste facility, that's something that's regulated pretty closely every year. Yeah. Good question, but we'd love to have you out.
Sure.
Any
Next
other
week,
questions?
speak back.
Can be if necessary.
Thanks,
Mike. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Commissioners, it's been a very profitable day due to our resolution of electronic devices going off during commission. We collected some
Noticed
from
that.
John and our media member today. So $20 each. So our pizza fund is growing greatly today.
I say we're getting pretty close to moving from pizza to steak and lobster.
Yeah, these two keep coming.
Well, we don't want to make him mad or he might leave.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we may as well collect.
No worries. We'll talk to your boss on that. We'll get it from him.
Good morning.
Morning.
How y'all doing?
Good, how are you?
Oh, good. Hope you get some of this right.
Sure is it.
Is it raining now?
No, it's not supposed to rain until tonight.
They said there's a chance of severe weather. Sorry. You can't do that with sheets here. Sorry.
I'm ready for significant rain for sure.
I can deal with that to knock all this pollen and stuff out that's got my sinuses warped.
Yeah.
Friday.
Good fun. Can't see it now. Good. Hopefully it won't be raining anymore.
Oh.
And
Dan?
Good morning, commissioners. Morning. No sooner is budget season over than it starts again. Our 5311 grant program applications for FY 24 are now open and due later back to KDOT later this month. So section 5311 funds our rural programs, anything basically outside of Manhattan. So that would be northern Riley County, Alden, essentially. Our largest service outside of Manhattan is in Alden. And so this funds those those programs. And so we're just looking today for a letter of support to submit with our grant application to KDOT. We
Do you
are,
ever get up into like Leonardville or up in those areas?
We
Is there a usage, pretty good usage up there?
no, it's very kind of hit and miss. We may for a while have people and then we don't for a while. I can't tell you off the top of my head what our current usage is up there, but we will go anywhere in the county.
Is that on a per, like if someone calls and you don't have a regular route?
No, we don't have a fixed route up there now, but they can call in and we can go pick them up.
yes, on call, on demand.
On demand?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the letter of support for grant for ATA bus.
I would second that.
Already moved and seconded to approve the letter of support for the grant with the Adibus. All in favor?
Aye.
All three sign, please.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dan.
You guys have a great day.
You too.
Good to see you. You too. Bye-bye.
Next, Commissioner, you have Lori Harrison at 9:35.
In the midst of that discussion, did I hear a third phone go off this morning?
No,
Would be Russell.
Okay. That's $20 from Russell.
Man, $60 a day. I don't know if we've ever had one this high.
Ironic that we were just talking about buses too.
We only accept cash, gentlemen.
So does that go to an ice cream fund?
Steak and lobster.
Come on, it's a fun, but these guys bumped us up with steak and lobster today.
So those in attendance get that as well, right?
No, because yeah, that makes sense.
Doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, if you're getting steak and lobster, I can make just pulling all day.
Further away from it.
All right, well,
See? We're in tag team. How's that?
okay.
Well, good morning. So we have been in conversation with KDM, the Kansas Division of Emergency Management. We've applied for our EMPG grant, which you all signed the application for last week for us. And that was for our basic $33,000 that we get. KDM has been using EMPG funds to fund a planner position for the big 6 counties for some time now. And so we've been in conversation with them about the possibility of using EMPG money to get our planner a full-time position. And they've looked at it, they've looked at all the population and what we do here, and they're willing to now make it a big 7 funding EMPG planner positions. So we're coming to you to ask for your permission to move our part-time planner to full-time, being funded by the EMPG money. So we would be bringing in an extra 50,000. So we're looking at 83 total for an annual grant reward. So anything else you want to add? Do you have questions?
The additional 50 specifically for the planner position. It's not something that we can necessarily use for something else.
Now, will that continue past 23? We're pretty
Yes.
sure of that.
So the big 7, as far as I know, they've been getting their planner position for over 15 years and maybe closer to 20 or 25. And so it's been recurring, and that we would anticipate it. And her letter indicates that it would be recurring funding.
I know you talked to me that this is something you've been trying for a while.
Correct.
So it's good to hear it went through.
And it was mostly due to Lori sweet talking Angie Aquino.
Said sweet talking? Yeah. No, I obviously over the last handful of years, we've seen a lot of needs coming from the emergency management side on particular things, not just pandemic related. So those never seem to be going away. So having some professionalism and some extra work on those things and using grant money seems like a solid idea.
And this goes into effect first of the year, is that right?
Correct. Yeah, we would the form that we'll bring back to you next week would indicate January 3rd is when he would switch from part-time to full-time.
Okay.
I don't have anything else.
No, sounds good.
I make a motion to approve changing the EM planner 1 from a part-time to full-time position using EMPG funds.
I would second that.
I moved in second to approve changing the EM planner 1 from part-time to full-time. All in favor?
Thanks, Laura. Thanks,
Thank
Russell.
you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thanks, commissioners.
Rain tonight, no severe weather. That's gonna happen.
This nice.
Rain is good.
Heavy rain.
Heavy rain.
Next commissioner, you have Dave Adams, 9:45.
If we had somebody, they say on the radio, it's like saying, yeah, a quarter to half an inch is all they're expecting.
I'll take it.
But it's better than
It's better than
that.
nothing.
Like last time, they said a quarter inch, I got an inch.
Yeah,
But we need more than that even. And it wouldn't be the first time they've been wrong. So
And then-
we can go from
and at the
nothing,
end of this presentation, that's what he said, just remember.
we can go from nothing to 10 inches too.
Very true.
I'd take a good 2 to 3 inch rain, I'm sure. My creek needs to get funding again. got my soybeans cut, so I'm all ready for rain. Saw that. That's operator error, chief.
No?
Yeah, it is. I believe that the individuals load that stuff themselves.
It was loaded.
What's that? Oh, this is, that is
It
no.
doesn't have my report. It just has the attachment.
Operator error.
No. Have you met me? That can't be it. Oh, okay. Good thing I bring my copy.
Good thing you do.
Because she called me because she was having a hard time getting that to load.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was struggling to get it to load. And I told her, I said, I just bring copies. Because of how they did it, how the file is. And I said, I just bring copies. And then she emailed me back and said, no, I got it to load. So she didn't say anything about the other.
Got you.
So
Well, at least the plan's on there.
that's really the important part there. So
It just email the commissioners your report. That's what I'd recommend.
oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Copy me.
Yeah.
Was that, is there a different one on this?
Just verbal, his verbal report, what he's gonna go through, evidently.
Huh.
Now, this black plan that's in our packet, what is that for?
North County.
That's the North County.
Oh, okay. Is it in service? First floor plan.
Mhm.
Actually, bigger than I thought it was gonna be.
Seems pretty.
I can't read.
No comments.
What's that?
It's not a lot of comments, so wait till we officially start.
It's hard to read.
I didn't
These.
see the other news.
I can't read it too.
Increase your
I
percentage.
did,
That's better.
a little better.
Yeah, I want you increasing so much and they get distorted some, but yeah, yeah. I got mine up to 300, you can read pretty good.
Oh,
Yeah, I've got 300 here.
yeah. I don't like that system.
I don't either. Why don't you just use email?
It's too difficult. And then if I reply,
And I don't,
then it sends it back and says, well, you didn't reply to the exact message.
yeah, I just use email.
Yes, it would be,
What are
they use Basecamp. So, yeah.
I don't know what.
And then John said, yeah, there was another image in there, but it was on a different, on a different message. So I missed that. So, but yeah, I don't,
It's not a fan of that system.
it's not very conducive to what we want.
Not very user friendly.
No. And then it'll send you sends me an email every day saying, hey, here's the activity, but you can't reply to that email. So you have to go back to the previous email to reply. And it's just,
I'm sure it's just not operator error.
no.
Yeah, I agree. That system, I mean, you can, that's what emails invented for,
Yeah,
those communications.
apparently what I didn't give you is operator error, but
That happens.
it does.
So whenever I'm doing it, I say, Cindy, help me out. And I know it gets done right.
Yeah, but I hate that for her to do all that.
So what we're there for.
I usually do a fairly good job, but apparently not on this.
Well, you just say it's a primitive design, so this could also change.
Oh, no, this is going to change. She's already emailed us about a couple tweaks.
Minor things.
Yeah,
Nothing significant.
nothing significant.
It's just, you don't have anything else.
Well, he should have. There was a verbal report or a written report, but it's not attached.
I can
So
say.
Oh,
he's going to be emailing the commissioners.
Yeah, I know.
He's going to read through it.
Concentrate.
Sorry.
Something else happened.
Yeah.
I see something here in the packet.
Yeah.
Informational items, got the information on it.
Yeah, that's something there. One works, it's right there, but it's.
Where is it? I've got the plan. And that's it. Better jumpstart in.
It should say there on
Well,
the,
see, if you go from the agenda and instead of going through the packet,
So it's in one place and not the other.
yeah, I've got it.
Really? I got you.
You know, I got.
That is interesting.
I use a split view and it's
Yeah.
there.
That is interesting.
I usually do the agenda off the email. That Cindy sends, and it's on there.
Yeah, do the agenda and then just. pull
Yeah,
each
David,
thing.
they're saying in one place on the agenda it is, and another place it isn't.
So
So
it's that page, I've got that.
Okay. Yeah.
I got it.
go ahead and give it to
Depending
them.
on which way, got it. Depending on which way you access it, it's on some places and not others.
Well, see, it looked good on mine when I did it, because I always double checked and it looked like it was there, so.
Is, oh, yeah.
Okay, good morning, Commissioners. David Adams, CMS Ambulance Director, with the update on the facilities that we have going on. So starting with the North County Station, we received the first schematic drawing, which you've seen. We worked through some of the questions that they had. It seems to be like we're gaining good momentum, so we're moving forward. There's no costs have been associated at this point, other than what you've signed off on for the architect. And then the upcoming is we need to decide on whether to authorize a geotechnical engineering study or to forego it on this project. The cost is $3,500 to $4,000. They gave us a couple different costs and will take anywhere from about a month to 6 weeks to complete. Depending on which company is selected.
Wow.
So
Explain to me why that's necessary.
this is coming from the architect. So it's his recommendation that we do one for this facility. I told him that this is not a decision for me to make or for our committee to make. John doesn't believe that it's necessary for.
I was going to say, so you know, the body doesn't think it's necessary, but it's your decision.
Not.
Two of us are not an engineer, one is. And if it was, like I told them, if it was a house being built there, you wouldn't do a
Right, that's what I
study. So
mentioned.
it's not like there's a hillside there. It's not like it's sandy loam. It's, you
If
know,
we were building a public safety headquarters, that location, that would be one thing. It's pretty simple. Yeah, that one I can understand, but.
So how, you don't.
And plus, we need to get this done. We need to get this, we got a time frame. Inflation's killing us. We need to get this done. Stretching it out another month, another 6 weeks,
well,
another month to get it done, and then however long it takes to incorporate it, we don't need to do all
in the
that.
right scenario, if we thought it was needed, I can see it justified. I just don't think it's justified.
Why is the architect suggesting it? Do they have any logical reason for that?
I think his concern is just about settling. Is the ground, what is underneath it? Is it a really sandy soil? If it's a really rocky soil, so is it just going to be stable, or do they need to do anything to firm up that? So in case of settling, is my understanding.
Well, and that's the thing, and I understand, and I'm sure Greg does too, because you don't know if 30 or 40 or 50 years ago, it was a landfill under there. Someone just used it to dump stuff, and it's not virgin soil under there is their concern. And so I guess I understand that, but if you were building a house there, you wouldn't do it. So
And doesn't the architect or the builder actually do that to see if they need to put pilings down or anything like that?
well, that's what
That's what
Don't they do that, an architect? Architectural.
Are we building a fortress here? Okay,
Well,
I mean, yeah.
Settle a lot.
I mean,
Crack.
I get the indication this is going to be some kind of just basic steel metal building type of structure, right? With
He,
built out on the inside, obviously.
it'll be a framed building, probably a wood framed is what, you know,
Neighborhood. Yeah.
so, but yeah, it's not. No 2 stories or anything like that, but that's kind of what they do is they give you these options and say, hey, this is something you may want to consider.
And it's a liability thing for them
and
too, because if
absolutely.
there were a bunch of cracks and we come back to them and they'll say, well, you didn't let us do it geotechnical.
Well, that's so be it then.
So, but so I just wanted to bring that forward to you and get kind of a consensus is what you would like us to do there. So.
Well, and you said at one time, you said, well, if you don't get geotech, we'll have to over excavate 3 or 4 feet and bring in fill, but that's not.
Yeah, I don't. So
It's not stable either.
Like say the house, you wouldn't do it, and that's what this is.
Mhm.
Me.
Is that typical in the neighborhood?
not typically, I don't think for a house.
Well, yeah, I'm just wondering if the soil is
And
unstable.
from what we've been able to look, going through, you know, working with the planning department and such, is that there hasn't been anything on here for, you know, I mean, they found a house that used to be on the neighboring lot from 1900. So, but they're not seeing anything that's been on this lot, so.
Yeah, there was a house to the east of that, put this one down when they did these things. And there's houses that have been built relatively new, I mean, you know, last 15 years or something behind it there. I'm sure they did some
Problems.
I think if you talk to their industry, it'd be what's referred to as best practices to be sure of everything. So, but we felt the same as what the commissioners are talking about. But
Yeah.
this business.
That wasn't,
Doesn't seem necessary to me.
okay,
the consensus of the board, not proceed with the geotechnical study.
okay, thank you. I'll pass that along. So, do you have any other questions about this facility?
Looks like a lot of space, 1,400 square feet for 2 people.
Well, yeah, and I think, but really it's.
And I understand you needed, you know, you need the 2 bedrooms, I know this.
Right. 2 bedrooms, a shared bathroom. We just did 1 bathroom, it would be a shared bathroom. A place for the laundry, because they have to do their laundry. You know, and then an office and a small workout room. So, and really, and then the other thing is just a room for supplies. So to keep.
I understand that, yeah, a lot of area for, that she has to heat that stuff. And it's showing it, did they say what they're planning on doing there? I mean, how will they reinforce that room?
We haven't gotten into that yet. My guess is what they did when I was in Potawatomi County was a concrete. So
block.
he just went concrete block that was set into the floor, and then just a heavy door.
It's built out in the plan sheet, and it can't breathe, it says concrete wall.
Oh, okay, yeah, so I saw some note when you tried to blow it up. That,
Yeah,
that's blurring.
yeah,
Smears.
yeah. So, but yeah, that's the plan for that room.
I
And
was
then for
looking,
the beds and everything, you have to have.
Yeah, we have to have it. It's got to be able to be secured and climate controlled. So.
well, yeah, I'm looking at the kitchen. I think that, you know, putting a peninsula there with 2 additional seating areas takes away from the living room area. That could be done a little more efficiently than that.
Yeah, we've talked about that a little bit, and you know, he said we got to have the counter space anyway. So, but you know, whether we get rid of that little bar side,
Well, it doesn't need to be raised. It's showing it raised, and that takes an extra space too. So,
okay.
you know, that would help a little, but it does cut down on the living space.
What's the 3rd room there in between?
It's an office and
So bedroom,
Exercise room.
an extra.
office, or bedroom, bathroom, office, exercise room. This is the laundry. And that's where we'll put in, like he's asked us if we think we need a water softener, and I don't think so, for that. And, but then part of this space here is going to end up being, for some IT infrastructure as well. So, and, that maybe we end up putting the furnace or some of that. That was part of the email chain we've got going on, so.
That's a good question. Where's the mechanical?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
It was planned for the attic, is what he said,
Okay.
but the question what he was doing, I think he's gonna take the laundry room and run north with it and square off the exercise room.
right, so.
I'll move that.
And so we may shorten that office, because really the office just needs to be a desk, a
Right.
printer and a scanner and that type of thing. So
Is an exercise room really necessary too?
they're up there for 24 hours every day. And this is a crew that's not gonna get out a lot. So we have them in all the stations. It's just a treadmill and some weights and a few small things like that, sir.
Yeah, and after I saw this, and I'm starting to see why it's costing $1 million. But what I would caution the commission on making it too small, I share your concerns when I first look at it, but we got to remember we want this thing to last 30, 40 years, and you want to have appropriate space if you are going to grow at some point in time. And the requirements for shared living space isn't going to get any less, I'll guarantee you. And I with 24-hour shifts, I think I could justify the exercise room, because if I'm on 24, I'm gonna have something to do during that downtime.
Right.
So
Yeah,
it is a difficult pill to swallow. I agree with all of your concerns. That was my first thoughts as well. But the one place I think we can save some money, and hopefully it doesn't get us the geotechnical. But we will do whatever the board wants to do.
Then in bedrooms, you put like 3 wardrobes separate for each shift.
yeah, 3 lockers, yeah.
Lockers
Yeah,
for each,
yeah,
one for each
they're
shift
allowed.
to have a little,
Yep.
it has their own individual spot.
That's where they put their pillows and their blankets.
Yeah, there's shared
very
bedroom,
beautiful
but
ones.
the individual space
Yep.
keeps that.
Yes, yep.
And it's the garage, that's how big the garage needs to be.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, I know where you are now, I realize.
No, absolutely.
You need the space to get out.
Yeah, we measured because, if you look at the truck, but you gotta look at the mirrors. So, we gave us about 9 to 11 inches on each side for the mirrors for coming in and out, but yes. So,
That's how much it takes.
yeah,
That's why at first I thought, oh yeah, you want to be able to pull the gurney out.
pull the stuff out and everything, right? So if not, we're doing what we're doing now, we're doing it outside in the rain.
And there was one picture that actually had a truck superimposed in there that I've
Yep.
seen, and I actually thought on the sides it looked almost kind of tight. Actually, so.
Yeah. So.
Because if you're talking about building a facility that's gonna have to last 30 years, the space to bring in the ambulance is part of that discussion, and they're not gonna get smaller.
No, they're not.
I mean, that's the problem with the old fire stations. It was built back in the Corps that did them.
Mhm.
They basically parked the truck and built the facility around it, and then all the new stuff wouldn't fit in it.
Right. Well, yeah, absolutely. So, but yeah, I think the one that he sent us was superimposed was after I'd already uploaded this, but, so, yes.
So is that another shower you've got in
And
the?
that outside the
garage?
bay, that's an eye wash station,
Okay.
an equipment wash station. So, that's been soiled or whatever, but we have to have an eye wash station for,
No, that's the sink, right?
yeah,
But
it's
it's
all.
also, what's that looks like a shower.
No, that's, I don't believe so. I believe that's just the sink, the eye wash station for that, but I'll also verify that.
Okay.
Well,
Symbol in there.
would you want the shower rather than the sink? Because you can do full body with the shower.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, David. Just like remember, I mean, when you guys get into some of those messy situations, that's where you can take the big stuff off before
Right.
you go tromp through the
I'm
facility.
gonna have to go back and look at my notes.
So it's kind of like
See.
an open shower base, like
Right.
what we looked at, and
Right.
probably what you have in other facilities,
Yeah.
where there's a hose and you can get the big
Oh,
stuff off
yeah.
before you.
No,
proceed.
it's an open shower. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's an open shower base and it has an eye wash station, but it also, like in some of our others, it has a wall that you can.
Okay. Gotcha.
So instead of, because if you get into a full shower, then you got.
So
a full shower.
you've basically got both things combined in
Yeah.
the same. Okay.
It takes up the same space as
Yeah,
like a
it
three
does.
by six
And
shower
it's-
space.
And it's water's there anyway, so.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That makes sense. Well, this is by no needs a final set of plans or final set of draft plans.
No problem.
Keep working and talking about it.
Okay, so public safety headquarters, so the construction manager risk qualification statements have been received and committee received ours on Monday. I believe you received yours today. Okay. So I know John had mentioned November 17th was the day for us to meet and discuss if that was going to work with your calendars. So so that's kind of where we are with that. So I was pleased to see that we had 5 companies.
Yeah.
You know, so that was good.
That's why there was one of them that came to several of our
Yeah.
stuff and didn't turn a bid in.
Yeah, John said that
They were too busy to dedicate the time we needed for.
Okay.
no,
I guess that is.
which appreciate that.
Yeah.
You know, absolutely. So I was too, because I had that exact same question.
Yeah.
So, but so the geotechnical engineering for this facility, John has worked with Kyle at the Arch Images, and they're getting that set up. So they can start that. And then Kyle states that the design team is working on the initial floor plans and building design. We'll get to see that first edition in a couple of weeks, and then he acknowledged that he's going to have to come before the board here at some point and show you kind of where we're at. So, but that's certainly on his radar as it is on ours. So, the cost we've paid $31,868.59 since the original report, and that was just for finishing up some of the previous invoices that we had. It was about what we expected, maybe even a little less, I think, than what I expected, but it's within the parameters of what you had signed off on. So total today is $105,717.90. So and John's staff handles all of that. They get the invoices, they pay them, and then he forwards them to me. So I have those as well. But and then the upcoming, the RFQ, RFP, and then the final, more on the floor plan, and then a review to yourselves.
And on that review, I think Jackson Johnson, one of the things references, and we're not expected to all call us all those differences.
No.
We don't want to
We'll do that.
10 calls.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, we'll do that.
David will do that.
I heard it. I see you was pointing to wing.
Yeah.
Well, he's pointing at you. I just said it.
Oh, okay. I did the reference checks on the first section, so I assumed I was going to have that opportunity.
It looks like it's been a vote.
I've been voluntold. Got it. So, anything else? Okay.
Thanks, David. Appreciate
the
it.
updates.
Absolutely.
Time for Amanda.
Sorry, Amanda.
Stole some of Amanda's time.
All right, good morning, commissioners. Amanda Webb, planning director. I somehow forgot my water, so I'm hopefully I can make it. It's usually it's like glued to my hands.
Well, there is a fountain and cups over there following, you know.
It's not the red water.
Right.
No, my special good water. All right, let me get to my memo here. All right, so I am here, of course, with my monthly October update. I cannot believe it's November already. Again, just want to always take the opportunity to plug October is National Community Planning Month, and I appreciate you folks signing a resolution recognizing such. So we do that every year. Skipping down short-term rentals. I know this is a big topic, both with you folks and out in our world here. So just kind of a recap of what we've done over the last couple of months. We've sent some letters. I believe we sent 26 letters in August. These are, of course, all the ones we know about. There's likely ones out there that we don't know about. So the ones that we were able to find, we've sent letters out again in August, just letting folks know about new regulations, licensing requirements, all of that. Any that we did not hear from, we sent follow-up letters at the end of September. giving them a 30-day deadline, which was October 31st. So just a few days ago, giving people just a few extra days through tomorrow to hopefully get some applications into us. Of total, we've received, we've received 12 license applications so far, 8 of which were in October. So we're getting there. It's a little slow, but we are getting there. So we've so far issued 5 overall. Again, most of those have been in October. You might wonder why we've received so many and we've only issued a few so far. Of course, we have to do a review of each application, and we also do an in-unit inspection.
Yeah.
So Jared will go out, and of course that requires, of course, coordination with the property owner since he has to go inside. So he has to do that in-unit inspection that he does. And then, of course, we won't issue a license until they are fully in compliance with our regulations. And if you folks remember, we did give existing rentals through May 2023 to come into full compliance. There might be a few little things that they weren't able to meet so far. They have that time to update their structure or do whatever else they need to do to meet our criteria, and then we can issue our application or license, I should say. But we are wanting people to apply sooner than later. We don't want people to wait until May 2023. Because if folks don't have a license, if they haven't applied and they don't have a license, they will not be able to operate. We will, work with county council. We don't want to go in and shut people down, but really at the end of the day, we have licensing requirements. People need to follow our regulations. So the hope is people can get their applications in sooner than later, and we can work with them to get their property up to date and then get their license issued. The other thing, we kind of talked internally about if folks are working on bringing their structure into compliance, by the May 2023 date, as long as they're working with us, they're keeping in communication with us, and they're going to be done in a reasonable amount of time, we're okay with that too. Some folks, I myself and Darren have over the months talked to folks who maybe need to increase the size of their windows or off-street parking and things like that. And that's a little bit more major than, I just need to put a fire extinguisher in my home. So we're definitely trying to work with people, make sure they can meet our regulations, but try to give them a little bit of grace, but also make sure they don't at least apply. We want you folks to apply so we can get that process going. We don't wait till the last minute. So,
But when they don't get licensed, what can we do?
well, realistically, according to our regulations, we can shut them down. If they do not have a license or if they are in violation, we can shut them down. Of course, talking to the county counselor's office, it's not just a matter of Darren going and hey, you're shut down. Of course, we have to go through a process in court, which of course is going to take a little bit of time.
And I can tell you right now, the courts do not like taking away people's property rights, so we're not going to win there.
Absolutely. So that's definitely going to be a bit of a challenge. But that is again what our regulation states. We hope to not get to that point.
Right. I mean, I don't want to, but I know there's a couple out there that are.
Yes, who are going to be a little bit of a challenge to get their
I
application.
took the word a little bit out of that.
Yeah, right. And I don't, because they seem some that don't care what the rules are.
Right.
Well, they know what the rules actually are, and that's why they're not going to comply.
Right. And of course, the concern, even if we shut somebody down, realistically, we can't sit on the front
There
porch
sits and watches them every day to see
So-
if they've got somebody coming and going.
Right, so people will still do what they do as we know, so we're just gonna do our best with everything.
Yeah, you said something about changing the size of a window. What do you mean by that?
Right, so in order for folks to use a bedroom as a bedroom, if you will, advertise it as, we have 3 bedrooms or whatnot. They have to have 2 methods of ingress and egress. That can be a door, that can be a door and a window. Well, I should say a door and a window, a door and a door, that kind of thing. And the window, and I'm sorry, I don't have it off my head, but the window has to be a certain size in order to account for people getting in or getting
But
out.
just like the city, means you can't sell it as a legal
Correct.
3-bedroom, but it can be a non-conforming bedroom in the city.
So how it works for us,
And that's just what I'm talking. that's a big expense. And when you change a window, you just don't have to replace the window. And so that's why I was just kind of curious on our rental, how that works.
Right, absolutely. And we did have one recently where according to him, he technically has 4 bedrooms, but one of the bedrooms did not have an egress window. It was in kind of a room next door. And so we only licensed him as 3 bedroom rather than a 4 bedroom to give him, if he wants to, bring up, do what he needs to do for that window to make it a 4, he can definitely do that. Let us know. We'll come take a look and we can reissue a 4 bedroom license. But yeah, so again, it's all, and it does match what the city does. It's again, all about making sure people can get out when they need to, or the rescue person needs to get in. It needs to be that certain size. So.
It's pretty involved when you start going down.
Oh, it is.
Those are normal building codes anyway.
Correct.
It's not just for rentals, it's.
Correct, of
But we don't
course.
have building
we
codes
don't
in the
have
county.
building codes in the county. But yes, the sizing of the windows is a building code thing that we matched the city on, because of course they do have codes. And it's, something that we'll discuss with you folks.
Yeah.
Right, it is a universal code thing. So we just applied it to our short-term rentals for that safety aspect of it. Any other questions on that topic? I'll definitely keep you folks updated as we hopefully knock on wood receive more. So
You wanted nothing to deal with.
Well, I know there's one that's probably past this deadline already and
yes,
isn't going to comply whatsoever. And neighbors, one in particular, has some, I think, very legitimate concerns.
Problems.
Mhm.
yes,
And
and I can tell you that person has not applied.
yeah, and I
And we
figured,
agree that it's going to be a challenge with that particular property owner. But we
Well,
will.
because those
continue-
problems aren't even,
Yes, but
even already,
exactly.
even our restrictions. It's just-
There's issues that are above and beyond what our regulations are covered, unfortunately, so. But yeah, at least for the short-term rental aspect of it, we are working on it, but yes, we do anticipate that one's going to be. Probably unfortunately among others, that one's going to be a challenge.
that's the one that started all of this.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yes, yes, so we knew that they would go, so. All right, anything more about short-term rentals?
You don't have that much time.
I know.
Stay anyway.
We'll talk all day about it. Understood. Okay, so moving on, I always like to talk about our battery recycling educational program. We're of course continuing our outreach efforts. One of our committee members gave a presentation to a civic, the Kiwanis, a couple, I guess it was in September. And I am giving my first presentation to Rotary today at their noon meeting. So see how that goes. I'll report back on that. And we also have a couple more presentations, I believe, coming up after the start of the new year. So we have some others scheduled.
Amanda, I was out searching for batteries yesterday. Have you thought about putting some stickers at places where they sell the batteries that these need to be recycled?
Yes, I know when we were kind of starting the program and seeing, okay, which direction, what do we want to do here? Julie Winter contacted a lot of the sellers in the area, folks who sell, different things with batteries and the e-cigarettes, vapes, different things like that, not just those, but a variety of those, and to kind of work with them. Okay, it was less about, they didn't want so much where they would have like a collection where people could bring them and recycle.
Yeah.
Because we don't really have the ability to pick them up, and we have to rely on that person, that store, whatever to us. And some of them were okay with that. Really what we kind of settled on was at least having those folks, when somebody buys something, hey, just so you know, this can be recycled here, or you can bring it back to us for credit, things like that. So at least using those, store owners to help us spread that word. But it's probably a good idea if maybe we can get them some brochures and some stickers.
Even just a sticker to remind people, because they sell, they have a huge selection of Menards and huge Home Depot and the grocery stores. So people are aware. A lot of people I talk to don't have any idea what the problem is.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And that's really what kind of spurred this movement on, if you will. Because a lot of people do not know what the problem is, why it causes the problem, that we've had some, trash truck facility fires in the region. I know there was a fire at the transfer station earlier this week. I haven't heard what the actual cause of that was yet, but So yeah, so definitely that's really what we want to do. We want to educate people. We want to make sure they're aware. Here, this is a problem, and here's how you can help us do something about it, basically, and how maybe we can help you help us if that makes sense. So just getting that information out there, letting them know where to go, how to do it. It's free, all of that different sort of stuff. So we're really just trying to get that word out there. So let's see. And we do have plenty of stickers. I literally have thousands of stickers and brochures. If anybody, we've given some to some of our trash haulers to include in their mailers. Again, when I do the Rotary presentation today, I'll bring them some stickers and brochures. Again, just getting that information out there, out to the world. Just a quick for Keats, not a whole lot else to say. Commissioner Foki, Perry, and I went out on a site visit a couple weeks ago, just kind of look at the area, look at some properties, look at the vicinity. So we're still kind of looking into some different options, both for funding and location. So we have not given up yet. We are still working on it. It's ongoing. Our annual evaluations are underway, so we're moving along with that. Let's see, our new permit software implementation, our GovBuilt system, they of course have been live since mid-September, and things are going well with that. Of course, there's a lot of work to transition from one system to another. You know, things don't always come across perfectly, so they've been helping us a lot, getting things tailored to, you know, how we want to do things, how we want to see things, getting our data over, making it useful for both us and the public. That's of course a big element to our new permit system. Everything's online. You just need an internet connection. We have a mobile app that's still in QA right now, but should be released here pretty quick. We're going to get some training on that. So people can really do everything online if they want to. They can still come on down. We will still accept your application and your credit card or your cash over the counter. We can still definitely do that, but hopefully this is going to make it easier for folks to just get everything done online. They can look at their progress, they can pay, they can literally be issued their permit, everything online. We're getting other staff in public works, emergency management, and county counselors. They all have their own user account, so they can get into the system, take a look around, make comments, see where things are. Get updates and notifications when it's their turn to review, all those different sorts of things. And there's unlimited user accounts. So there might be other departments that we will make involved here.
We need to go into executive session.
Okay. Okay. I'll just end there. Please, call me, come by if you have any questions about anything and hear anything else. I'm always happy to answer any questions. And I made it through without my water. So. Yeah. Thank you.
You need a little longer plan, you're just going 10:30.
Yeah. Probably am going to need a little bit longer. It's not going to mess up the agenda too much. I think Ron will be patient. We probably do need a full 15 minutes.
Or you want to go to 10:40?
Yeah, let's do that.
Well, 15 minutes right now gets you to 10:35.
That's why I wouldn't immediately leave that.
Oh, okay.
10:35, 10:40, either one's fine.
Just wanted to give you plenty of time.
Yeah, yeah.
That's fine. Okay. We'll go ahead and move at the county commission, including Chairman McKinley, Vice Chair Foki, and Commissioner Ford, including recess to executive session on potential litigation for the purpose of consultation with Clancy Holman, County Counselor, attorney for the commission, which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship, an exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act. The open meeting to resume in the county commission chamber at 10:40 a.m. Rich Fargo, Riley County Clerk, will be present during the portion of the executive section to provide factual information.
I was second that.
It's been moved and seconded to go into executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, I'll move that the Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session.
Second that.
And moved and seconded from out of executive session, all in favor?
Aye.
I also need that the record reflect actions shall be taken consistent with consensus reached in executive session.
I second that.
And moved and seconded that actions were taken consistent with consensus reached, all in favor?
Aye.
That's all I have.
Okay.
You're on.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Good to see everybody. Thanks for having me and providing a little update on some of the things happening in the city of Manhattan. But I've been kind of leading off with Aggieville. It's an A. There's a lot going on there. So I think the good news is we've had pretty decent weather this fall, and the contractor's been able to make some pretty good progress. They have started pouring there on that section between Laramie and Morrow Street on North Manhattan. The goal is to get that section complete and back open before Thanksgiving. And I think they're making good progress to do that. They have most of that formed up and ready. There was kind of a last minute call by one of the telecoms that wanted to get some stuff under that new street. And so we obliged them and held that up a little bit to work with that. But the other section of work, which is basically just south of the Bluemont Anderson, North Manhattan intersection there, Rock Valley in that area, that's still going strong. A lot of, again, 40% of the project is replacing utilities and utility connections to individual businesses. So working hard to keep that in place. But after this next section is done, anticipate another section basically between Little Morrow and that work to be done, with that final intersection work at Morrow and North Manhattan to be probably late spring at the earliest. So we're going to try and minimize the impact through the holidays any more than it already has. Related activity there is that at the November 15th City Commission meeting, the commissioners will hear from Back 9 Development on their Midtown development. So we've had a development agreement with them. The contingencies of that development agreement were some additional land acquisition that they needed to do to secure their financing before the actual transfer of that property will come about. They've indicated they have met that contingency, so they'll be giving a report to the commission about that. And then they're anxious to get their project started on that 12th and Laramie lot. Also related to that, we've had Olson Associates doing the design for the additional public infrastructure. We're rebuilding Laramie Street adjacent to that, as well as 12th Street being transformed into a pedestrian mall between Laramie and Morrow. That design process is continuing and not as far along with that. And then so anticipate probably early next year for those designs to go through some public processes for comment and ultimately to the commission for approval. We've pre-selected BHS Construction to actually perform that work, whatever is ultimately decided on. So they're the ones that are building the Midtown development as well. So look for some information coming out on that. Commission's had some discussions about the parking garage in Aggieville, and we had an ordinance and fee resolution in front of them this past Tuesday for their comment and review. And most everything is solidified, except one of the things that we had proposed was that there only be the first hour of parking in the garage would be free. The Aggieville had previously requested that, and they were originally kind of behind that, 3-hour parking would remain free on the street in front, because they're losing some of those spaces. So negotiation happened Tuesday night a little bit, and they had originally requested that the first 3 hours in the lot be free. There was some compromise of maybe bring everything to 2 hour. So 2 hour on the street and 2 hours, first 2 hours in the garage would be free. So that's no final decision. That's going to come back on the 15th for them to kind of look at some of those scenarios and how we're, part of our strategy on the fees for the garage are that'll help pay for the operations and maintenance and upkeep of the garage itself, as well as we've gone to optical imaging with instead of chalk and tires or reading license plates, and so it's a much more efficient, more expensive operations with that equipment, and hired the people to do that. Some of the other components, the daily hourly rate in the garage is $2 an hour to a maximum of $10. So that's that aspect. And that's really Sunday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. in the garage only. And then, of course, those street restrictions only apply Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. So if you were to park over the current 3-hour limit, then you got a ticket. The ticket component is only between 8 and 5 Monday through Friday. But the garage hours has extended services. There is an overnight rate that would run essentially Sunday through Wednesday that goes from 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. the following day, and it's a $10 rate. And then there's a safe driver rate that would be Thursday through Saturday from 10 p.m. till noon the next day, $8. So encouraging people not to take chances and be able to have a safe place to leave that vehicle. So we also have some provisions for reserve stalls for employees. Basically, an employee can park for $1 a day in a reserve slot. So trying to make that affordable for them. And so that's the part-time employees. And then there are, if you want to reserve a specific spot, there are rates for that as well. And several businesses have wanted to have talked to us about doing that as well. So progressing along, more to come. Next time I'm down, I'm sure you'll be able to read about some of that's going on. Also, in early October, the commission approved a design contract with Olson to design a pedestrian way for the alley or the gap right now between the Good Sense and Rally House. So behind Rally House right now, it's kind of a mess. There's trash dumpsters there. There's kind of a sidewalk there, utility easements.
I think there's an old picnic table or something there.
Yeah. And so the goal there, the original goal for the design when the Rally Alley was created, the vertical sign, which you can see from Anderson and Little Morrow, was to create a pedestrian way that links to that. And so the design of that pedestrian way got to relocate some of the transformers and some of the trash dumpsters. Both of the owners there have donated some easements. So that's the intent to spruce that component up as well. We've had a couple of KDOT grants awarded. I think you probably have heard those, but we did receive a grant to restore Juliet between Points and Pierre Street, much like we have between Points and Bluemont. And so that will continue south 2 more blocks there to back to bricks. Of course, the bricks are kind of very wavy in some spots by the library block.
Wavy.
Calming devices. And then it also includes putting brick down. And as far as we know, there's no brick under that next section. And so we're trying to salvage some brick, although now we've opened some bids about the labor cost to salvage. There's bricks underneath Points, as a matter of fact, in the 600 block, which is another project we awarded. It may be cheaper to buy new bricks and place them than pay the labor to salvage them. So anyway, that's one of the things we're contemplating. The other KDOT award we got was a gap sidewalk on Fort Riley Boulevard between Martin Luther King Jr. Drive and Westwood. So there's a gap there. There's no sidewalk now. The impediment to that in the past has always been the Wildcat Creek bridges. Now that the new bridges are in with a sidewalk, and we built that back to Westwood and to Rosencutter. So we just need to fill that gap. And fortunately, we were successful to get that grant from KDOT to be able to do that. So we just did enter the grant agreements with KDOT for that. Some other construction related work. There's work down here on Houston Street between 3rd and 4th, and that's really that's relocation of the sanitary sewer that was in the alley where the Art and Light Museum is going. So that's why that's all tore up and getting some of that. But while we've got it tore up, we're doing some other things there, storing water and some other things. So that will continue. They're making good progress there as well. The housing market analysis, the commission adopted that and made it as part of the comprehensive plan. So they're now working on creating a workforce housing steering committee. And so that will come back to them in December. So that's a group that will work and make recommendations to the commissions on various housing improvements in the community and types of investments that will, remember, 10% of that half-cent sales tax, that or 4% sales tax we did was to put in place workforce housing revenue. So they will help make recommendations on that. We also on the 15th expect the Manhattan Housing Authority to have a pre-development agreement before the group commission on the property at parking lot, city parking lot at 5th and Pierre, and the for that senior housing development that is proposed there. The commission on October 6th did approve an agreement with National Church Residents to help participate and fund a FEMA hazard mitigation grant that we applied for to do the buyout of the Gardenway units. The goal there has been to work to preserve those senior vouchers in the community. And that's one of the primary reasons for the momentum of the proposed public housing. Right now, that pre-development agreement is stipulating about half of that parking lot would be transferred to them for their use, and the other half would remain a public parking lot. Probably a period of time where they're going to need to stage on the whole thing for construction, but they need to improve it once that's complete. Obviously, there's some other contingencies. They have to get financing and tax credits for the project over the deals. It's not a deal. So more to come, but the 15th is when the commissioners are scheduled to hear that proposal. Yes, it will be a busy meeting. Let's see, levee construction's continuing and going well on all phases of the project. Again, they've had great weather to work on it as well. Kimball Avenue also selected closures of the outside lanes as they continue to do landscaping and irrigation and lighting along those. And then we're pulling those cones back on 8-day weekends to make sure that the traffic is running as smoothly as it can. Still waiting on parts for the traffic signal there at the Grain Science Building. So supply chain issues in that regard.
Looks like they're pretty close to opening up the ride share area there in the north part of the stadium.
Yeah, I haven't been by there.
Okay, I saw them pick up the cones and the construction fencing around it.
They've got some decorative panels, I think, that they were waiting for them, but they are part of that. The intersection of US 24 and Levy Drive, we finally got final approval from KDOT to go to bid with that, so that should be bidding shortly. We've already pre-ordered all the traffic signals and equipment and have that in place. We did receive a KDOT grant for $650,000 to help with that signalized intersection. And then next week at the work session from the City Commission, we're going to visit with them about some planning efforts for our cemeteries, both Sunset and Sunrise. And obviously Sunset's essentially pretty much fully utilized unless you want to develop columbariums. There's a lot of huge history there as part of the community. And we did a survey back in 2018 that suggested a historic district up in that for some of that area specific to the cemetery. The old landmark tower is already on the register. The Sexton's house there certainly is eligible. The Girl Scout house is eligible. There's a lot of history within the cemetery itself. So there's if you want to learn about a lot of the history about how that came about, there's a link in that memo that goes out today that gives that historical report, which is pretty fascinating about Kimball Castle and how all that area kind of came to be. It's pictures of pretty barren land and all the arguments against having a cemetery on the barren hill. Which no longer is the case. It's been planted and mature trees and some of the shots of the valley are there. But looking forward, obviously, that's a ongoing continual expense of maintaining that facility without much of a revenue stream coming in. And so how best can we accomplish that unless we add some other types of opportunities for some of those revenue streams. So that's really what again, it's just a discussion with the commission. And then we have Sunrise that really sets the future for it. But over the years that I've been around, I've seen a lot of municipal cemeteries go by the wayside, and that obligation's been transferred to the private sector. So we're not proposing that, but we do think there's some of the facilities we have that are serving those areas have kind of met their useful life. And so we need some ways to look at how do we replace those and be able to have a revenue stream for that, as well as some of the future improvements that are needed in those. That's all I had. Any questions y'all have for me?
So if you guys buy that senior housing down there, what's the city gonna do with that facility if you purchase that?
So it's essentially a FEMA buyout at Gardner. Is that what you're talking about?
What about the senior housing that's down in their senior housing down?
There is a senior housing project that's not part of
That's
this
not part of it.
discussion. This is
Just
just
replacing
them
that
wanting
down
to
there?
buy our parking lot to
Gotcha.
build them to replace the garden regions. That would
Gotcha.
be another Manhattan Housing Authority property.
Yep.
So I think they have plans to replace that project.
Oh,
but
do they?
right now they do.
Okay.
They've had some issues there.
They're gonna be set with the old ones.
Gotcha.
And HUD, as I understand it, is encouraging privatization of a lot of those types of units. So but it's not linked to this at all.
Gotcha.
They have indicated there could be some mutual benefit, and they also have announced that National Church Residence, which has the Colorado Place units there, are going to be transferred to the Housing Authority. So that's one of the reasons they really like that location, to give them some synergy among those tracks.
Interesting.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ron. Have a
Enjoy
good
the last
weekend.
Nice day. Sounds like we got some rain.
We did. Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right. Take care. Sunshine.
Yeah, it started out cloudy.
No, did the gust front come in? I don't think that was a cold front, obviously. It's coming in later. So.
I think tomorrow, really, I think tomorrow the temperature drops to 46 during the day. I heard
upper 50s. Maybe they've
that's our
adjusted
coming in.
Who knows?
For sure.
Yeah, that wind was blowing this morning.
Yes, it was.
It was windy at 5 o'clock this morning.
Yes.
It was gusting too. Yeah. It bounced my store around a bit.
Yeah.
I don't have anything.
I don't have anything else either.
No official business, just the unofficial, Mr. Board. Yep, start with you again, and we'll get past that.
It's not like I'm winning anything here anyway, so yeah, you know, might as well. I'm just surprised it's still 2.5 in favor of Texas. I'm just not understanding that. I don't know what Vegas sees, but
They match up good against us.
they do, and their strengths once again are matched up to our strengths. Weather will play a role, I bet. Time we do something with special teams too. I'm thinking both of those will be critical factors on Saturday. Seem to be playing a little better sometimes at night than we do during the day too, which I think is good. So
The defense is better.
and then on the I'm gonna say, I'm not gonna say 48-0. But I'm gonna say, you know, Texas is 5-3. They tend to start checking out this time of the year. I think We got a good shot. I'm gonna say. I'm gonna go 33-17 K-State.
I like that score. Great.
I'm at 24-17.
Catherine?
42-20.
For Clancy?
22-18 Texas.
Oh, no.
Threw me for a loop. 18. Okay, and I went 28-27 K-State.
And we'll see how it goes.
As long as we get a win. As long as we get a win.
Deal with that too.
I'm glad to be wrong.
Yeah.
I was very wrong last week. Thank goodness.
Oh, it was a tough one. You couldn't predict that.
Okay, well, if we didn't have anything else, then I'll go ahead and make a motion that we adjourn the November 3rd meeting of the Riley County Commission.
I would second that.
Move second to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Have a good weekend, everyone.